Vision is what changes the world. And we're talking about changing the world for the kids of Whatcom County.
It took a pandemic for a childcare spot to open up for my daughter.
What my friends pay for their mortgages, I'm paying monthly for childcare. It's outrageous.
And at the same time, we know that the gains of quality childcare are lost when we send children home to sleep in a car.
Before a family becomes homeless, we can intervene earlier.
Our point of greatest leverage for changing the trajectory of a community for the future is early childhood. It's the smartest investment a community can make.
There's been a long journey of the Chuckanut Health Foundation. It actually starts with the St. Luke's Hospital back in the late 1800s when brave, amazing, courageous pioneers built a hospital. And when that hospital sold in the 1980s, it created the St. Luke's Foundation at the time. And the whole mission of this foundation was to create community health in Whatcom County in perpetuity for the rest of time. We have given over 1,000 grants, probably closer to 1,500 at this point, to probably between 250 and 300 different organizations in our community.
That initial grant from Chuckanut to get the foster care program started, it was the nudge we needed to get going, and now foster care is pretty central to what we do. Every day there are hundreds of kids in the care of foster families that we have trained and licensed, and that community of care would not exist without the folks who made an early investment in it to help get it started. As we're coming out of the pandemic, it's becoming harder and harder for us to place children in the homes that are trained and licensed and eager and ready to go, because so many of those families, two working adult household, they need childcare in order to say yes.
We're just calling like crazy, sometimes up to 30 plus calls in a day, trying to figure out where this kid's gonna go starting tomorrow morning. Childcare is the biggest barrier to placing kids.
I realized this problem's not going to go away on its own, and I need to find out who else is working on this problem. I didn't have to look far until, I encountered my friends, Emily O'Connor and Heather Flaherty and Meredith Hayes. This coalition that Heather really pulled together and was facilitating was really well down the road in designing a solution.
Grant making is really critical, but it wasn't necessarily the Chuckanut Health Foundation driving our vision. As a health foundation, how do you approach addressing the root cause? How far upstream can we go? Because prevention is actually much more effective than downstream treatment or intervention. We could actually have a campaign in 2022, and this could be on the ballot.
The proportion of voters who tell us they are definitely in favor of the measure is equaled by the proportion who tell us that they are definitely against it. We basically have a third of voters who are locked in yes, a third of voters who are locked in no, and a third of voters who are essentially not firmly committed. We have very little margin for error and very little cushion here.
Thank you for the introduction, Councilmember Kirschner, and thank you, Councilmember Buchanan, for inviting us here today to give you an update. The focus of this work plan is making sure there is sustainable funding to help support the strategies that have been identified by our community for what will actually help with some of our highest priorities and needs. Council agreed to vote yes to put this on the ballot, and that's when it's like game on. All it's about is communicating with voters and trying to get your message out there and persuade voters to support this.
I'm incredibly incredibly excited about this opportunity, and I'm so grateful to all of you for coming out tonight, for the support that we've seen, for this community that keeps saying yes for kids. Thank you for being on this train with us.
So the first thing it does is it will improve kindergarten readiness. It will do that by creating more high quality, accessible, affordable childcare. We have about 5,000 too few childcare slots. Also, it will prevent family homelessness. Before a family becomes homeless, we can intervene earlier. And through targeted mental health supports and parenting supports, it will prevent mistreatment of children, child abuse and neglect, which is an area I'm particularly passionate about.
We have asked community members what they want in their childcare system, and then we asked providers, what will it take for you to get these programs in place, to be able to expand capacity, to be able to expand farther into the county? And we have built those into the ordinance and into the plan so that those are the things that will be funded.
It's a nonpartisan, beautiful way, I believe, to support kids. I love the transparency. I love the accountability.
It's going to be a long trip. It's been a decade already, but we can do it. We're going to have to build a cultural consensus across the entire community.
Sometimes in this community, it comes down to just a handful of votes. And so we need everybody to help us volunteer, endorse, door knock, spread the word on social media, and we need to reach voters.
This is a massive community mobilization effort.
It's all about how well we can take care of kids and families from birth to 5, and it's investing in the infrastructure of childcare so that it works for kids, so it works for families and they can stay in the workforce, so it works for providers and our economy. So please say yes for kids with us.
1, 2, 3.
Did you encounter any opposition with people you were talking to about it?
There were certainly some members of the community that were listening and a little more cautious. The reason is at the end of the day, this was a tax. And because it's a tax, it had to be administered through government.
The first kind of hints of opposition I got was from people who actually really believed in what Prop 5 was setting out to do, but were wary of another property tax and feeling like there's got to be another way that we can fund these sorts of things. But then recognizing there are very few levers we have at our disposal. So it was a path of really just trying to understand what was possible.
So let's begin by setting the table, if you will. Do you think that there is a need for increased support, governmental support for childcare?
Why is it my responsibility or anybody else's responsibility to meet the need of someone else's child? That's their responsibility. That's a failure on that family, not on me or you as a taxpayer.
I would note that the reason that Ben Ellenboss, county councilor, voted against this levy was precisely what you just stated, Lori, that this would be something that the families, extended families, and faith communities should provide, not the government. So Emily, why isn't that going to work?
Well, it isn't working. It simply isn't working. We don't live in bubbles where we aren't impacted by the rest of society. This is how we build a community. And if we don't take care to make sure that the whole community is healthy, then everybody is more vulnerable, and it costs everyone.
I think the second time I heard of opposition, which was a little more organized, was through an email chain that I saw about people organizing protests with signs. I think there's a lot of mistrust for anything through the health department county council, etc. And this was one more tax that they thought they should stop.
What would it take to change your mind on Proposition 5?
If we're going to try to help families, we need to help them not just with childcare. And we as taxpayers are already doing that. We're already funding enough things in our community that isn't helping. I have to think of all families, not just a few families. 5,000 children is a lot, but when you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of children that could possibly be displaced by all of these taxes, no, I can't. I can't consciously say that I can agree with this.
You know, what's been on my mind a lot today is that it takes hearts of steel to care so much about a vision for kids and families in our community, and to be in this super anticipatory moment of waiting for very public results. This is not for the faint of heart to care this much. And I've had these moments of feeling afraid of feeling good about it and feeling like, am I gonna feel foolish if I care so much? And we lose. And what I really believe is that there is absolutely nothing foolish about showing up and giving it your all and putting your values out there in such a vulnerable way. And that is the only thing that has ever built democracy and made movements possible. And I think it's so brave and courageous that you allow your hearts to be broken and that you put that brokenness to work in building a beautiful movement like this. To me, this is really an infinite game. So a finite game, you win or lose. An infinite game, you keep playing forever and ever and ever. And I'm really happy that we get to continue playing the infinite game regardless of the finite outcome tonight. So thank you for being here. Thank you for all your work.
Uh-oh.
No. Oh, it's in. Wait. Don't say anything to me.
Okay. Can I use the F word?
Better. I gave more than numbers.
Oh, what do you have?
51 numbers.
61 no. 61% no.
51%. So we lost. By what? We lost by 2,000. 25,000 left.
Like 40 if you want.
Take a deep breath.
60, 30, that is not.
All right.
Who wants to take the... Do you want me to do it, Heather? Yeah. All right. We've got it. Yeah. I got it.
Hey, friend! The first ballot drop happened. Now, before anyone starts naysaying or feeling the pain, let's just point out that they have an estimated 25,500 ballots left to count. The next tabulation's at 5 p.m. So I know that means that we're going to be holding a lot for the next 24 hours. But if anyone remembers Christina Michelle's race from last year, sometimes it takes a day. So let's enjoy our evening together, celebrate the journey that we've been on up to this point, and just do our best to kind of release any cortisol in our systems that we're going to be holding for the next 24 hours.
It just feels like, tonight's results will be more definitive than last night's. We shall see. We shall see. Well, what's up?
So we closed the gap significantly.
Yeah, now we're only like 1,500 down.
Went from 23 to 1,500.
This is gonna be a squeaker. Oh. They counted 10% of the ballots they have, and we closed by
800 less that we have. 800 less. And we need another 1,500.
I hate how much hope this gives me. This bring of foolish hope.
It's not foolish. It's going in the right direction.
We're down 1,100 instead of 1,500.
Yeah, so that's good. That's the right trajectory. How many ballots left?
That's, where do you find that?
7,500.
They estimate 7,500. Well, they give the
400 votes out of what they count, 20,000 ballots. That's tough math. Oh, team. That is damn good and painful work.
Yeah. What are our percentages?
49.4%.
50 split, but we'll lose it by 900 votes. That's really impressive.
That's so close.
It doesn't look good to me.
Yeah.
Because there's only 7,500 left to count. So, it would have to be a huge swing to make this.
Painful.
Yeah, so close.
Yeah. So incredibly close.
Yeah. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's statistically pretty unlikely. And very unlikely.
Okay. News that only a doctor can deliver. One of my really good friends said, this is revolutionary, and real movements do take a long time to lift off. And so
it's true.
I still feel very, very, very proud.
I definitely think that's justified. This was a big deal. This was a big education for the community.
unless it gets close enough that we ballot chase for it.
I really don't want. I want to, don't want to ballot chase. I want to, don't want to.
I know.
Oh, hell we would, though.
Oh, hell we would.
Yes.
If given a chance, we will ballot chase.
Mm-hmm. It's Monday at 5.
Monday at 5.
We're gonna learn about curing.
Wait, they already dropped?
Yeah, 428.
I just randomly thought I'm gonna check.
393.
Okay.
293 votes. 200. What?
Guys, we were 1,103 votes apart when I got here.
Oh my gosh. 293 votes.
There's nobody curing ballots on the 40th, right?
No.
Alex is way.
I
can't remember who's where.
Did.
Yeah, but what if we did? Like, you literally have nothing to lose.
Yeah, we have nothing to lose.
This group is gonna roll over.
So wait, how many though are curable still?
So about 1,000 ballots.
Hey, okay, everybody's here.
Okay, yeah. The 2 weeks we're going to have here before certification, going to those rejected voters, having them fill out one of 2 forms to get their ballot cured, which means countable. And so we have until I think the 29th to do that.
The rules are that your ballot in Washington State has to be postmarked by Election Day, and you have to sign the outside of that envelope. We learned that around 1% of ballots are rejected. All it means is you either forgot to sign the outside of your ballot or your signature changed for some reason, and they want to verify that who you are is who you are. The auditor does let everyone know equally that your ballot was rejected and everyone has a chance. A lot of people are just kind of like, well, the election's over. It doesn't matter. My vote doesn't matter. We just really wanted to make sure that all the votes that possibly could be counted were counted. And that meant going to their homes and knocking on their doors. That meant calling them, saying, hey, I don't know if you know this, but your ballot was rejected. And here's a form if you want to get that fixed. It's just a signature update. Here, I'll take a selfie and say we're all ready to start right now. Yay!
There's a curing party at Merida's house.
This is not the time to walk away. We have to push for 2 more weeks and see what happens.
All right, man. Have a great rest
long time. It's going to take 20, 30, 40 years to do what we're setting out to do. And so, we're not going to make it on teeth gritting and nail biting. That's just not going to work. So we need to be taking care of ourselves. We need to be bringing people along. We need to have an intergenerational approach to our own work because it's the work of multiple generations. So change is always possible. And I think that's what this table is about. And change for the community is something we can pull off.
We're waiting for the final results, which will drop in hopefully in about 10 minutes to see if we can get Prop 5 across the finish line. It's exciting, and most of us want to vomit a little bit today because it's like done, final in just 10 minutes.
We're still waiting.
Up by 20.
That's certified? That's certified?
Oh my God.
This has been the hardest race ever just to get to the starting line. We're at the beginning. It's been all hands on deck. It's going to be even more hands on deck because you thought the campaign was hard. We'll try building 5,000 more childcare slots across Whatcom County. It really will take all of us. And it's possible.